Welcome, everybody, to the Filler Feed podcast. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Brilliance 0. And today I am joined by my co-host and close friend, Mr. Eric. Eric, how are you doing today, and what have you been playing this week?
I am doing great. I'm excited.
Excited for what?
Excited for stuff. I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the week to be over because.
Too bad it's been delayed.
Oh, shut up. No, I've been playing League lately again. We played a duo that didn't go so hot yesterday.
Yeah.
Due to some internet issues. Our Wukong was also lagging, and I was lagging, and we just immediately lost.
Right.
I was 20.
I was ADC Annie, and
Yep.
we definitely did not surrender at 20. We gave in, or we fought until the very end.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
that's
am
what I
actually
meant.
lying. We surrendered immediately at 20 minutes.
We did. It was awful.
It was really funny. And, that's something that I want to talk about, actually, as long as we're talking about it. It is really annoying when games rely so much on your internet connection like that. Like, something like Hearthstone doesn't require like a good internet connection.
Yeah.
And that's one of the positives of the game that, might be a little bit overlooked. But something like, first-person shooters in general and, MOBAs like League or Dota or whatever, they definitely rely a lot on your internet connection, and that really sucks sometimes.
Yeah, we're just kind of biased in that sense because we have like the most inconsistent internet service provider in the world. Like, they don't know that throttling is illegal, I don't think. Like, they just
Right.
it's not a concept in their brain. So, yeah, but whatever, we just live with it, and sometimes we lose games.
Yeah,
That's a
so
bit.
we live in I guess you could classify it as rural Minnesota.
Yeah,
Like, we're not hicks, out here,
yeah.
although some people might
Some people
classify
are.
that if you're from the inner city. But yeah, so our internet provider in this area kind of has a monopoly going at the moment. And the city has recently taken measures to break that monopoly a little bit because that company in particular doesn't give a fuck about this region, and it is very clear. And we
Yeah.
yeah, so measures are in place. I'm not gonna give away too much because it might give away our location, which I'm
Yeah.
not too keen on releasing. But
No, I was just gonna say, like, we had a good service provider, and then they got bought out, and that's when shit started going down because
Right.
it was bought out by a company that's larger, but then they also are more focused on like larger cities and stuff like that, so they don't care about our city at all.
Yes.
Like, they don't, like, we have outdated equipment. We don't have enough bandwidth for the whole city, so like around 9 o'clock, it just bogs the hell down
Yes,
because
9:30.
like everybody's on the internet and. Oh, it's annoying.
Like every night, you could always tell about
Yep.
9:30 because, I guess it could. Part of it is that my parents go on the internet as well, so like obviously that's gonna bog down my personal Wi-Fi. But you can tell that we're both on a shared connection because about 9:30 every night, and especially on Sundays and Fridays when
Yep.
there are peak traffic times. You can, like, my ping will go from, like, 90-ish to, like, 130, 140, and you're like, oh, yep, people are on the
That time of
internet right
day.
now. So annoying.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, so you
Oh,
were
we're
lagging
playing.
a lot in that game, and that was really funny.
Yep.
But, so we lost that ranked game.
Yeah.
Are you... Yeah, okay. Oh, never mind.
Well, I'm also playing Hearthstone, if I can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So,
Um, so the new season's out, and I am like at a very good rank because A, I haven't had that much time to play, and B, I just kind of suck. And there's also a bunch of really good people that got like thrown down in the ranks, so they're beating me.
low MMR so like if everybody gets basically thrown down into lower MMR, that means that everybody's good at the lower ranks.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just gonna wait until a few more days when people are back up to their normal ranks and then climb. Because I'm not that good. Like, I have cards, but I kind of suck.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about. Well, I mean, to me, it's mostly about deck building. How you can
Yeah.
combo. Well, I mean,
Well,
kind of,
even
sort of, because
even
you could just copy like net decks basically, but you gotta
that's
know how
kind of
to
what I've
use
been
them.
doing.
You're right.
Like I'm basically following Trump's mech mage, but I've also like made variations to it that kind of cater to me. For example, like his mech mage deck doesn't have like any card draw, which kind of sucks. So I threw in Jeeves just because it's a mech and it's also a really good card draw thing. Um,
Yeah, that would be. Couldn't you? Wouldn't you want to throw in like an arcane intellect in there, just a straight card
I
draw?
could, but
Or are you really running out of cards? Like, are
I'm
you?
like even with Jeeves, I have card draw issues. Like I'm pretty sure there's only two card draw cards in that whole deck, and they're two Azure Drakes. So
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, but other than that, I've kind of got this Control Warrior deck going that I just kind of whipped up real quick. Um, Control Warrior requires a lot of legendaries, which I don't have,
A
so I just
lot of
threw in
money.
some replacements. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still a good deck. It's just with Control Warrior, it's not really like huge in the meta right now, so it takes you're not going to win every game, and it takes a while to get momentum because you got to get all that armor up.
Yes,
So
yes, you need to farm your armor for things like Shield Slam and stuff like that. Do you run Bouncing Blade in that deck? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have that card, so
Oh,
I wish I did, but
because I mean, honestly, it's to me, it's more funny than anything else because like having it used on you sucks a lot because it's essentially almost like a consecrate, but you're guaranteed to kill an enemy out of it. So it's good against like mid to higher range monsters.
yep. Isn't it like a higher cost too? It's like 5 or 6.
It's 3.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So the card is it'll deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion until a minion dies. So, best case scenario, it's like you can get all of the enemy minions down to 1 health, and then one of them will die, and the spell will obviously
Yeah,
stop. Um,
unless you're unlucky.
yeah,
That's
worst
like
case
perfect
scenario, it hits a 1 cost minion and
Yeah,
just stops, and you just kill a 1 cost minion or like a 1/1 minion.
yeah.
So, I was just curious if that
You know
was
what?
like a card.
That's I think something that's too situational because like when you think about like paladins where they've got
Yeah,
I don't know the card
all
name but
kinds of
it's the 3/1/1s and the
muster for
1/4
battle.
weapon. Yeah, so like stuff like that, it's literally just one removal, but it is cheap. So 3 is cheap. So I don't know. It'd be
Okay.
worth looking at.
Yeah, so in terms if as long as we're talking about Hearthstone, today I opened up a freaking awesome pack of cards.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
got a Ragnaros, my second Ragnaros, so I disenchanted that for dust, a lot of
Yep.
dust, and I also got a Preparation, which is
Yeah,
a
that's a
really
great
nice
card.
rogue card.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
don't play
dude.
a lot of rogue, but she's okay. I mean,
I love Rogue. She's just really hard to play right now.
yeah.
Like the only really good deck, like she's got a few good decks, but the really good deck right now is Oil, and it's super hard to play. So
What did you say it was? Oil?
Oil, that's the name of the deck. I don't know. It's
Is it like
basically
Flicker or
no, it's more of a spell mid range deck.
okay?
It's actually more of a spell late game late range deck. But you run like Violet Teacher and the two oils, two preps, two sprints, two deadly poisons. So it's kind of based on weapons, but it's also based on like mid to late range creatures.
Okay.
So
That's kind of a common theme right now, isn't it? Like really getting into the late game.
yeah, it depends. Like, uh, I think it just shifted because like before it was. I think we've talked about this last week, but before it was very early game, like
Yep.
very early game.
Aggro.
Yeah, when you thought of things like um,
Death
Zooblock
Rattle Hunter.
and Death Rattle Hunter and stuff like that. Like it was really early game, and then we moved into like just we've kind of shifted into more of this like mid to late game. So,
Right.
but basically like oil deck, the you have South Sea Deckhand, which is pretty good, but like the um, creature after that, the highest creature is a 3 cost. Um, so and pretty much everything from there like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. Um, 16 of the cards are spells plus 16 plus are spells.
So that's pretty spell heavy, isn't it?
Actually 20 are spells.
20 spells?
It's pretty yeah, it's pretty spell heavy.
Dang.
And that's when Violet Teacher really comes in hand because that's like one of the main cards in the deck because you get all those 1/1s and Gallywix too. I run Trade Prince Gallywix. A lot of people run Lotheb, which is it's good. Like I really like Lotheb and he's really good. And I think I might try that out because I haven't had that much success with Trade Prince Gallywix.
Hmm.
Do you know what that card does?
No, I just looked up Violet Teacher.
Trade Prince Gallywix is whenever your opponent casts a spell, gain a copy of it and give them a coin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's situational, and I think Lothab is more situational or less situational. Sorry, just because it's I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
good feature.
that I don't know, that first of all, your opponent has to have a spell that you would want.
Yeah,
And second of all, you'd have to bank on them actually casting a spell instead of just creatures, which I suppose I don't know for something like Druid that maybe not as good because Druid is more creature focused. I don't
yeah.
know. I'm a little
Well, I
bit
mean, you have
confused
things
by that.
like Innervate, Claw, but you
Yeah.
know, usually Innervates are used in like the first 4 turns.
Yep.
I've noticed. Um, but you
So,
know, like Swipe. I don't know. Force of Nature. That's another good one that you might want in an oil deck.
yeah.
I don't know. It's. I haven't had that much success with it. I've played it a lot, but I'm just terrible at the deck because I don't really know exactly what I'm doing with it. Like it's kind of a difficult deck. Like Mech Mage is easy. You just like play. You basically like your starting hand. You just want like a 1 cost creature and the rest of them 2 cost or 3 cost. Like it
Coin
really
Mech
doesn't
Warper.
matter. Yeah, like Coin Mech Warper is really good. uh,
That's gotta be arguably the best coin play in the game, I think.
yeah,
Turn
dude.
one.
Some coin plays are insane. Like especially with Innervate. Like or you know what else I saw? I was watching Trump today, and one of the people in the chat was like, if you were mage and you coin unstable portal and then used if this is now you have to get super lucky for this, but then you used Van Cleef, I think is his name. Edwin. Yeah.
Fang?
Edwin Van Cleef. It's the gain 2/2 for every card played earlier this turn. And it's a
Oh,
3 cost.
okay.
So unstable portal is put a card in your hand and make it cost 3 less. So
That's really
if you
good.
if you get that, you have a turn 1/6/6.
That's really fucking good,
So
dude. That's super lucky. You'd have to be super lucky
yeah,
there.
that's like really lucky, but
So, did Trump
that'd be
do that,
awesome.
or what?
No, I
Or
think
did?
someone was just talking about like
Oh,
really
okay.
good turn 1 plays, but that'd be awesome. Maybe he has, and I just haven't seen it. But
And okay, so I despise mages. Not because, I mean, okay, so they're super controlly, everybody hates control, whatever.
yep,
The thing that I have beef with Mage is that she has way too many good default cards. So, something like, okay, so for example, Druid has Starfire, which is a 6 cost, deal 5 damage, and you draw a card.
yep,
Her Fireball is a 4
6 damage.
cost, deals 6 damage.
You
That
know,
that extra 2 damage, or I mean, that extra 1 damage for 1 less mana, I would give up that card draw instantly to have that extra damage because that moves you up almost into another tier of monsters that you can remove. Like, you
yep,
can, like, to take out something like an Ironbark Protector, all you do is fireball and run a 2 cost or just a minion with 2 power into it, which could be in fact a 1 cost. You could have fucking Murloc Tidehunter take out an
Yeah,
Ironbark if you combo it with fireball. Whereas like Starfire just doesn't like that extra 1 damage matters a lot, and it's for 1 mana more.
yeah.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. Like, I think I agree. I think Starfire should be a 5 cost because when you think about it, like card draw. Well, so like if you think about the mage card, it's draw 2 cards for 3. So
Right.
card draw is essentially 1 to 1.5 mana.
D yes, I would agree with that, but you might want to watch how much you're scaling it because, for example, Sprint is a 7 cost draw 4, isn't it?
Yep, but that's true. The more cards you draw at once, the more valuable it gets. But if you're
Yes.
just drawing one, it's 1 to 1.5.
Yeah.
So when you
Right.
think about it, uh, you're doing 6 damage for 4 with Fireball, and you're doing 5 damage for 6 with Starfire with that extra card draw. So honestly, if you dropped that a mana, that card would be a lot better. Or I don't know if making an exact copy of Fireball would be good because that's just I don't know. It's just kind of like it's just not a good
Yeah.
plan. But even just removing the card draw and making it do something else would make that card worth it. But honestly, I don't see that card run a lot because
It's
you
not
know
the best
it's
for
a
what it can do.
yeah it's a big removal, but it's so expensive and
Like, isn't I think Starfire is used more than Starfall.
Starfire
Starfire
is
is the deal 5. You have the option between dealing 5 damage for 5 mana or 2 damage to all minions
that's Starfall.
or all enemy. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that I would think that'd be better because it's a cost less.
Yep.
But also, here's another thing: is you have to think about Druid has 4 cards in like their in the just class specific cards that help you with mana. So
Yes.
that kind of also plays with the scaling just to make it balanced. Just the scaling of card costs because like when you think about it, Ironbark Protector at 8/8 for 8 is not that good. Um,
8/8 taunt for 8.
yeah, but I mean like if you think of here, um,
Like, who's the 7/7 for 7?
that is
I mean, I would think it's good, but it's not like the best because I would take something over Ancient of War over Ironbark because it's 1 mana less and you still basically have the huge body on the
yep,
field.
yep,
Um,
I'd agree.
I would take a 5/10 taunt any day over an 8/8 taunt because I honestly I'd rather have that 3 damage. I mean, I would rather have that extra 2 health rather than the extra 3 damage because 5 damage is going to be pretty significant anyway.
Yep. Um, I don't know. I think it's just like the kit. Um, it's hard to look at specific cards and be like, this isn't balanced because you have to look at the kit, the whole kit.
Yeah, true.
Um, and like, I think that's why Druid is pretty strong right now is because you have a lot of, first of all, options, which is really, really cool. Like when you think about it, you're basically running an extremely more versatile deck than any other class because you have like 8 different options for 4 different cards,
Yeah, it's
for
so
example.
the advantage to Druid is sort of beating the RNG factor,
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah,
But it's just okay, so yes, Druid has the extra ramp to overcome that extra mana cost, so to speak, if you're looking at his kit as a whole. Like I would honestly I would rather have it be a 5 cost though so that you can do 2 things in one turn. And so for example, I run a decent amount of 5 cost taunts, I guess. So I'd rather have something like be able to play like a Starfire and then something like a Sludge Belcher in the same
yeah.
turn. So I can do
That's
because
true.
it feels like I don't like from having a card from 5 mana to 6 mana is significant because you can't you're somewhat limited in what you can do because you're taking up the majority of your mana, if that makes sense. I'm not really
Yep.
sure.
No,
Like
that makes sense.
you can do like a Starfire and then a swipe because it's a forecast, but like a lot of I don't know, I guess. I mean,
And then, like, I totally agree, but that's where things like Innervate come in.
yes. Okay,
Or
yeah. That's true.
like Nourish. And I totally agree. Like, it's a little wonky. And um, I think, honestly, this is what I'm going to say about some of these games. This is a big statement. I think a lot of these gaming companies, they don't necessarily balance everything perfectly on purpose because I
Yeah.
think they
Oh yeah.
want some classes to win for a certain time and some classes because they want to just change up. And I think that happens a lot with the competitive scene too. Like when you think of League of Legends, that's totally obvious because when you think of like Urgot, he's been terrible for so
Oh
long,
yeah.
and like they totally could have fixed him and like made him better. And maybe not with his kit, but like they could have messed with something and played around with some stuff and maybe made him better. But they obviously want certain champions to be really good right now, and they obviously want some certain champions to be really bad. And I think that's the same with like it happened with World of Warcraft with certain classes are better, and it happens with Hearthstone too. Um, and so I think honestly, Druid is really strong right now. But like when you think of Hunter, Hunter is like I think probably one of the worst classes right now. Hunter or Shaman. Because
Shaman, I would say.
yeah. Warlock
Um,
too, because well, Handlock is still pretty good, but like um some of the pretty basic Warlock decks have been nerfed quite a bit just because I don't know. It's
it's
weird.
yeah. I think
Priest too. Priest is not that great,
really
to be
well,
hugely honest. Like it's mostly just annoyances. Like um
like Shadow
I don't know.
Words,
Like yeah, Shadow Words and um
card draw, fucking North Shire
yeah,
Cleric.
Northshire Cleric is just stupid. We talk about that. It's totally should be a two cost
Yeah.
at the very least because turn one Northshire is really dumb.
And I suppose it would depend upon your perspective too, because I was thinking like somebody that's never played in League, for example, is like Poppy because
Yep.
she's not that good to be honest. But I think if you look at the higher levels, like they can people really play the underpowered champs in higher levels and succeed?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends because it's obviously not in Challenger because everybody in Challenger is really, really good.
Right.
And they all know a lot about the game. And but I think if you're talking like Plat, you can be really good at a champion, like if you played a one champion for a long time and still win. But um, I don't know, like when you come down to what makes you knowledgeable about a game, I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, I've played this champion for so long, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's more like I know the mechanics of the game and I know what every champion does, and I can play every champion pretty well. Like I think that will make you succeed further than just being like really good at Poppy, for example. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I think I get what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. I'm like, the thing is, I would guess that if you took somebody from the challenger tier, put them into like a silver MMR, and gave them Urgot, I think they would still wreck.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
I want to see that happen. Actually, I want to see somebody Smurf on
Because when you
fucking
think like,
Urgot.
yeah, dude, when you think about like how important vision control is and how like nobody does that in the lower levels,
Yeah,
um, if you have that knowledge, I think you could wreck with anybody. Like just from that alone, because you have more knowledge of what's happening in the game versus someone who's just like, I just want to go run and kill someone under tower because he's got a quarter of the health and it's gonna be fun. Like
yeah,
I don't know, people at lower levels, I think, just don't take it as seriously as people at higher levels, obviously, but I don't know.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, I guess I would agree with that. Um, so I guess something. So I've also been playing League. Got promoted to Bronze 3. All
Yay!
right. So yeah, we took that MMR dive. So I want to clarify and put context that perhaps we are not that bronze MMR ish at the moment. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm bronze 3, and then be taken seriously as if that's some
Yeah.
sort of accomplishment. So
Yeah.
anyway, I have been playing a lot of Annie support lately, and she is really fucking good, dude. Because she has the sort of unique combination that makes a support really good, and that she first of all has really good CC because she has multiple AoE stuns available to her. But she also deals a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, she's got that long range poke too, early game.
Yes,
Or
she
autos.
has yeah, so she has a good way to proc her spell thieves. Um, so I've just been really I think she requires a little bit more of a skill ceiling because you have to know when it's appropriate to use your stun and when it's not. Versus somebody like Morgana, you just kind of fucking fire your Q whenever you want,
Yep.
and just
And
expect
they're, I
people to
mean, they're
get
pretty
ready.
much dead, like no matter what.
Right. But it's just I've been winning with her, and I think it's just that ability early game to do like damage as a support and basically out trade
Mhm.
the enemy duo at like level 6 basically.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So, um, when you play support, do you notice that AD carries tend to be more aggressive,
Oh
um,
yeah.
that you don't know, like that you're not in Skype with,
Yeah.
than normal? I
Tend to be more passive or aggressive?
aggressive.
Um Usually I'm more aggressive than my ADC.
Yeah,
It
I've
really
kind of noticed
depends
that.
on the champion because like a Draven will be much more aggressive in lane than like a Vayne.
Hmm.
But overall, ADCs are I would say a little bit more passive when there's no
Okay.
communication, which
Yeah,
is
I don't
good.
know. Yeah, like whenever I play, I always notice like the support is super aggressive, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just because I don't play that often solo queue, but I've noticed like people thrashes will just queue in and just go ham, and their body's ready and they're just gonna go in, and I am like, what are you doing? I'm not ready for this right now, and it's just kind of like I don't
Their
know.
body's ready, but your body is not ready.
Yeah, my body's not at all ready.
It might be something too that maybe you're just taking notice of their positioning more, like knowing that it's somebody strange and new. So like
Could
you're
be,
you're
yeah.
kind of keeping more tabs on them than if you were playing with somebody like me. Um, in lower levels, I'm not gonna lie, and I've been able to abuse this that supports can be more aggressive in lower levels and get away with it because people don't capitalize on your when you're out of position as much as higher levels. So, for example, if I were to be Thresh, for example, and I wanted to get in position to Q, and I have to step out basically like in front of our front line of minions, in front of where you might be positioned, and try to get in line for Q, the enemy ADC won't like poke me, and I'll be able to get away with kind of positioning myself
Yep.
there. And it also depends on who you're playing because somebody like a Blitzcrank is obviously going to zone really really
Yeah.
hard.
Yep.
And he drops off a little bit in the late game, but that's kind of what he does. He zones in lane super hard. So
Yeah, and like I've noticed that too because a lot of people are scared of Annie,
yeah,
and um, sometimes it's for no good reason.
right.
Like Annie's squishy really early until she gets Rod of Ages, or maybe just Catalyst. Until she gets Catalyst, she's
Yep.
pretty squishy. Um, and a lot of people just forget that. They're like, I'm not even going to go in because Annie's terrifying, and I know Annie's terrifying, so I'm just going to forget that and not even try and go in. And that's why I think I suppose you can just kind of get away with that because I don't know. A lot of supports are scary. I'm going to be real honest. Like Morgana, Thresh,
Leona's really scary.
Leona's scary. Like they're all just terrifying.
Right. Because they're scary because you don't want to be that guy that gets CC'd in lane and ends up giving
Yeah,
up first blood. You
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like one thing you got to remember is that as soon as I see their Leona go in, I am also going to engage their ADC
Yep.
to sort of even out that trade. And from
Yep.
there on, it's all about how hard the supports can CC the other ADCs and how early game the ADCs are. Like a Caitlyn is going to out damage a Vayne pre level 6 every day of the week.
Yep. For sure.
So,
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. So as long as we're talking about supports and bot lanes and stuff, would you like to talk about the new champion
Yes.
that was announced? So this isn't like newsy type news because this was announced like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
But the new champion, or a new champion, a support was announced for League of Legends. And his name is Bard the Wandering Caretaker, and I am interested in seeing how he performs because he is a little bit weird. So I'm just going to go over his abilities really quick. And I think, let me see if I can actually add just so I can capture this window to show everybody because I don't want to edit this in later because I'm lazy. Okay, so OBS is currently broadcasting this Chrome page, looking good. Okay, so his passive, Traveler's Call, he basically picks up these little chimes, and basically when I think it's when he autos an enemy or shoots like a spell at an enemy, it'll actually deal like extra damage. So he's got a little bit of damage in his pocket, sort of like Annie. So I'm not sure how much that will scale, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Be interesting.
but it'll give him a little bit of extra help in trades. I'm guessing this passive was formed because he had trouble trading like early game with
Yeah.
the enemy bot laners.
Mhm.
So just a little bit of extra damage to help him out. And then so collecting a chime grants Bard a brief burst of movement speed, experience, and mana. So you can almost kind of farm those chimes, which is interesting.
Yep.
So his Q, Cosmic Binding, essentially it's a slow, and if you happen to connect with somebody either through, oh, that's really loud, either through through like another enemy minion or enemy champion, it will stun them for, I believe, 1 to 2 seconds. Looks pretty long. Looks like about 2 seconds. Or if they're next to a wall, it will also rid them. So that's going to basically increase his skill ceiling a little bit by making sure that you're positioning yourself correctly to land that stun, and making sure that your ADC is in position to.
Yep.
So his W is Caretaker Shrine. He conjures a little health pack that looks like it says that gains power for a few seconds. I'm not really sure what that means.
I think I think what it means is like it takes a while to like set up. Like it's
Okay.
got a charge timer, and I think it's like if you think of Rek'Sai's burrow thing. Oh, actually, that doesn't take that long, I guess. I
I
don't know.
I think it means that so like if you wait like 3 seconds or whatever and an arbitrary amount of time for it to like power up or whatever, it might heal you more basically.
Okay.
Question mark. I don't know. But allied champions who walk over the pack gain health and a brief burst of movement speed, so you can definitely save somebody. This is kind of like the same sort of function as Thresh's Lantern. It'll be good for like escapes. So if you're walking in front of your ADC and your ADC is being chased, you can throw this in front of them, give them a brief burst of movement speed, and they might be able to escape because of it.
Hmm.
And then enemies can walk over to destroy it. Now his E is one of his most interesting abilities in my opinion. He places a little portal, and this has to be on a wall. And essentially, you can so you travel through this portal to travel to the other side of whatever the wall is, and you like everybody can walk through this portal, not only your allies but also the enemy. And this is interesting because first of all, you can actually troll with it. So if you wanted
Yep.
to lead like a pursuing enemy into like a lane or something, or actually, it could also benefit you if that enemy is weakened, where you can actually lead into a lane where you have an ally ready to actually kill said enemy, then that would be good for you. Also, it can be good to combo with his ultimate, in that his ultimate is basically an AoE Zhonya's. It freezes anything and everything caught in it, and like that thing is immune and it can't take damage. And I find that really interesting. I find that really interesting because it's pure utility.
Yep.
It can sort of be a stun if you use it right, but if you fuck it up, then you're going to basically end up killing your allies.
Yep.
Um, so here on the screen, you can see you can freeze towers, you can freeze objectives, you can freeze dragon, you can freeze literally anything. So I said that you could combo this with your E basically by if you're being pursued by an enemy and you travel through your E portal. You can actually land the ultimate while the enemy is traveling through the portal. So I might basically enter the portal, be sped up by going through that portal, and then I can drop my ult at the portal's entrance, for example, and then I know where the enemy is going to be because they're going to position themselves to obviously enter the portal, so I can land that and get a stun, I guess.
You can also do the same thing with your Q. So, like, if they come into the portal, they're obviously near a wall because it requires a wall to even set up. So, yeah.
So, yeah, so I guess you can combo that. So like if you wall into lane, a friendly lane, for example, then you can actually stun the enemy at the wall, and then like if you run this guy with somebody like a Vayne, and like you see the enemy come through the portal and then next to that wall, first of all you can Q them, stun them, and then you can then Vayne stun them with her whatever her pushback is, whatever that is called. And then you get so much stun time on that person.
But I'm wondering, it'll be interesting to see, like, what if I E him into the portal? Like, does he go back into the portal? Is he stunned on the wall? Like, what happens with that?
Like what do you mean? Like, if you push him with Vayne, or if you Q him with Bard?
If I push him with Vayne.
Oh.
Or both, I suppose. Like, if he's pushed... Well, no, with your Q, because you don't push him, so it just has to connect with the wall.
Right, so I'm taking a look at the video again. I'm seeing... Okay, so it doesn't show you if, like, the enemy has to click on the portal to go through, or if they go through just by positioning
I'm pretty sure they just go... They have to walk. They just have to walk through it. Because I thought I saw a video where someone was just walking willy-nilly, and someone put a portal, like, right next to them, and then they teleported.
Okay.
So,
I mean, maybe you can push people through portals with Vayne. That would be hilarious, actually.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be so funny.
It'll be interesting, though.
And I wonder if the portal can be used in different directions. I don't think it can. Because if you were to, for example, push somebody through that portal with Vayne, I don't think they would be able to come back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting stuff that we'll see when he comes out. I don't know when he'll come out.
Anyway, so yeah, OBS just stopped recording for some reason. We're not really sure why, but that happened in the first episode of Filler Feed, so I'm not really sure like what the deal is with OBS, so I'll just have to keep an eye on that. Luckily, the window it kind of sort of flashes or presents itself as like the first window on my computer, so I'll know when it stops recording like every time. So
maybe in the future we could take a break.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. That'd be a good idea as well.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, I am excited for him to come out. Honestly, I'll probably drop the $10 to buy him just with
for sure.
RP because he looks like a really interesting champion. And I mean, you can troll with him too, which is like something that not a lot of supports can do. Because essentially, if you have an enemy chasing your ADC at low health and you're like running with them, you can essentially AoE Zonya as your ADC.
Yep.
And then they'll be caught.
Get them killed.
Get them killed.
Dakota has PBS access, right? Or whatever that is.
PBE, yeah.
PBS.
He wants to watch Elmo
Sesame
Adventures
Street
or whatever the fuck
is.
I don't know.
No, it's okay. It's just funny because we both screwed up.
Elmo Adventures. That should be.
That's a new show. We should write that.
Elmo tries to survive the streets of Detroit. Elmo and I don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it should be like a really dark, like really like kind of Happy Tree Friends.
Yeah.
Get some like that.
Get some mental scarring going on. Everybody needs a little bit of mental scarring, you know. Um, we can't all just be on the internet by ourselves, struggling with what we've seen. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway,
Okay.
so um, I guess we can talk about one thing I did want to cover is the new Valve virtual reality headset.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm gonna pull
HGC.
up this article. All right, so OBS stopped recording again, 2 minutes into it. But anyway, we were talking about Valve's VR headset. So it is named Vive, and they have chosen HTC to make this headset. Would you like to go over some details?
Sure.
Or I
So,
can just read off the article if you're not
yeah,
prepared.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, okay, so this is an article from PC Gamer. I'm just going to read some highlights that I've taken the time to just quickly, highlight. Derp, derp. So the VR headset is named Vive. It is being made by HTC, and it boasts two 1200 by 1080 displays that refresh at 90 frames per second, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it boasts a gyro sensor, accelerometer, and Laser position sensor, along with something called the Steam VR base station that allows you to control your avatar's movement by physically walking around your room in spaces up to 15 feet by 15 feet. HTC-made wireless game controllers will be available for more complex interactions that don't rely on your feet. And this consumer version is planned for release in 2015.
That's
That is
really
this
early.
year. That is this
So
year. That's
they
awesome.
literally just like brought this out at GDC.
Yes, this was announced this morning, I think, or yesterday, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
something like that. It was very recent.
Yeah.
Is the point?
So, um, the thing is, Valve has a history of producing great products. So I am super excited to see virtual reality being made by Valve.
Yep, I totally agree.
That is
Um,
awesome.
and especially because I mean, they already have a huge, like foot in the door as far as just games in general, and so they can obviously attach this to all the games that they have
Oh yeah.
and that
Yeah.
they're working with and stuff like that,
I never
which
thought
is
about
super
that.
cool.
Yeah,
Um,
so like if you took like for example, they implemented VR compatibility for TF2.
mhm.
So you know what? This is how stupidly genius Valve is, okay?
Yeah.
So they implement VR compatibility for TF2. I'm not sure about Counter-Strike Source or Counter-Strike Global Offensive or anything like that. But essentially, what they did is they did this where the Oculus Rift is out right now. Okay, so they were able to see how it performed with the Oculus Rift, sort of beta test that compatibility in a way. So now, having seen that, they then released their own headset,
Yep.
knowing like basically with a refined version of like knowing how it's gonna work.
Yep.
That is awesome. Like
So we should talk about this. I don't mean to interrupt. Did I interrupt
okay,
you? Um, so this just popped into my brain right now. So with Kickstarter, which is what Oculus Rift was funded by, I don't know if they had a patent on that because
Oculus Rift.
yeah,
They had to, didn't they? It's
I
like,
have no clue.
isn't it like a
That's a good
trademarked?
question.
Uh, I'm scared to go into Chrome. I'm like,
I
I
can
wonder
do
if
it.
this will like
Um,
Oculus Rift patents. Apple wins a patent for an Oculus. Oh, never mind.
hold on, I'm open. I've got an article on it.
It
Let's
looks
see if
like they do have a patent.
May 5th, 2014, Oculus Rift gets a virtual reality headset design patent. Um,
Okay. And that's
so,
they probably applied for it like a couple of years prior because patents do take a while to go through, don't they?
yeah, I think so. It says, and this was GDC last year. So, um, obviously, Oculus Rift, I think, was out before last year. It's been out for a while, I think.
Yeah.
We have one right now for robotics, which is super cool.
Yep.
Um, but the thing is like I'm wondering because Valve literally was like, okay, let's throw TF2 or Half-Life 2 or whatever in with the Oculus Rift. Let's steal their entire idea and then make our own.
Well,
Like
I
that's
mean,
just it's peculiar to me. Peculiar.
but VR isn't like a trademarked thing. Like they're allowed to do that.
I know, that's what I was curious. I know.
So,
Um,
oh man, I'm just so excited
but
for
the
that.
thing is, like, I don't know. There's probably obviously a difference in tech because you can see the difference in sensors, because it's a laser gyro sensor,
Right.
accelerometer, and laser position sensor. So
I'm gonna
I don't
open
know.
up
It's
another
interesting
image
though.
for this.
It looks cool because um, I don't know. What I'm interested to see is how the 15 by 15 feet thing will work.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that just a sensor, another set of sensors that you put in your room, or is it like a physical like frame? Because I know
Or
there's
like a
been
mat or
like
something.
weird, yeah, like there's been weird stuff announced at like um, oh, what was that convention?
E3.
Consumer?
Oh, that's
No,
some
it was
weird.
like
That's interesting.
it's one of those weird consumers thing. CES. Last
Oh,
year at CES, they
right.
talked about like weird like platforms. It's kind of like a treadmill thing, but it's like a circle,
Yeah.
and you have like weird shoes on that um, you run on this like weird platform, and then you that's how you walk.
So
But
I'm
we'll see.
I'm going to look up Steam VR base stations, see if we get any results for that. No, it's
Yeah,
just a headset. So what I would guess is that um, there's got to be limitations to the type of room that you can set it up in, but I'm guessing
obviously.
there are going to be sensors that essentially like cast like a laser, right? So like
Mhm.
I don't know. Because like when like it would then track where you are based on where the lasers
Yeah,
erupted. Obviously,
yeah.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's what I would guess.
But I mean, that would be the most logical thing. Um, Honestly, what do you think about virtual reality? Because I've had this discussion and we kind of talked a little bit. I've talked to people a little bit about like the Kinect when that first came out and
Yeah.
how that just was a flop and nobody liked it really. The only thing it was used for was for you to scream at your Xbox to turn on and off. Um,
Yeah.
but like it's I don't know. It's interesting. What do you think?
Um, I'd say right now there isn't. Uh, there's there's a market out there waiting to be claimed. But the technology definitely needs to advance before it is basically consumed by the masses. I would
I
say
agree.
it has a lot of potential because, like, essentially, VR is the ultimate, like, goal, I guess, for video games. Because if you think about it, okay, so you take the very beginning of video games, 1980 or fucking 1960 Pong, okay? That was the very
Yeah.
beginning of video games. Or I mean, okay, let's advance it to like Wolfenstein, which is like 1990, right? So, um that like from there on, video games have been sort of progressing to be more and more realistic to obviously the video games that we have today. And if we can reach the quality of gaming or graphics or whatever that we have today and apply it to VR, then like how much better can you get, basically?
I know. Um, I also had this discussion, I know, with a few of the guys at school about how there's a literally, this sounds ridiculous, but there's literally a potential for you to be lost in virtual reality.
That'd be so awesome.
But it's also terrifying. So think about this. You're playing an MMO, right? Like, this is so many years in the future because MMOs look so cartoony and just stupid. So like years in the future, MMOs look really, really close to real life. And you're playing this MMO and you're exploring and you're doing all this, and you literally are so immersed that you like forget that there's real life. Like that's a possibility. It's a weird, I don't know, like it's a weird phenomenon, and I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know really. I mean, like it's awesome, but scary at the same time, you know?
Yeah,
Like essentially what you're looking. Okay, so essentially you're picturing the Matrix,
yeah,
right?
pretty much.
You can't really like deny that movie has sort of instilled our like ideas of what that can become, given enough time. I don't think you're talking like hundreds of years if that's going to happen because
Yeah,
people are old fashioned isn't really the right word, but people aren't like people won't become engrossed in virtual reality. Or like people as a majority, for example,
yeah.
like my parents would never get lost in a virtual reality
No,
world
you're right.
because they're just like that's not their style, you
But like
know?
even if you think about like you just as an individual and you're playing Skyrim, think about how immersive that game is just in itself. Like you have forgotten all of your problems, all of your math homework, the fact that you have,
Hit the
you
nail on the
know,
head right there.
yeah, like all of this, all of your issues, you've totally forgotten about that for 4.5 hours while you beat some guy up in Whiterun. Like that's
Right, yeah.
that's not even virtual reality. So like, can you imagine just a world where like you are walking around in either a room or just anywhere. Like you're just walking around trying to explore this whole place and you're like you just forget all of your problems and you just keep going and I don't know, it's weird.
I'm like
It's just it's kind of food for thought. Like it sounds a little ridiculous and obviously there's ways to like prevent this. Like you could put even just something simple like a clock or like an alarm, like just telling you, hey, you've been playing for 4.5 hours.
yeah.
You need to go, deal with real life. But it's just like, what if that happened? That'd be crazy.
Right. I think like the a really good reminder if okay, if that were to happen, I would say the solution is to like sort of insert like a webcam of you in real life in this potential VR headset or whatever.
Okay.
And like say the time and how many hours you've been playing. So like there's always a portion of the screen reminding you that hey, this is virtual reality.
Yeah.
Like there's also actual real life. Um, but like again, people. I mean, it sounds so ridiculous, but didn't people say that about like the internet? 40
Yeah, that's
years
true.
ago.
But I mean,
That's
honestly,
what makes it so
think
potentially awesome.
think about it. Like, we spend a lot of time on the internet.
Oh yeah.
So
But like
people back then weren't wrong. They were just, I don't know. I mean, they were kind of wrong, but yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's a whole thing.
definitely interesting. But I guess back to the present. I am excited to see Valve doing this because I know that they'll do it right. And given the concept of Valve time is kind of like Valve doesn't release games on any sort of schedule at all. Hence the whole Half-Life 3 thing
Well,
on the internet. But like I think that given that they're releasing it, they're going to release a sort of development kit the right way. And not to say that Oculus Rift did this the wrong way, but I feel like production of games, of virtual reality games, might be sped up a little bit by this headset. I guess I'm not really sure what I'm trying to get at here, but
no, I mean it makes sense. Like we obviously, in order to make these games, we need the tech for these headsets. So, and this looks very very high tech, like 90 frames per second, 1080p. Like that's intense.
yeah, that's awesome.
So
And then my only other concern is that like I haven't used an Oculus Rift before. I probably will, given that we now have one, just
Mhm.
out of curiosity. But
Yeah.
I hope it's not too heavy to wear.
Yeah.
Like that's my only concern, really.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I like I've seen people use Oculus Rift, and I don't think it's like that heavy. Um, I mean, it's obviously going to take you a little far back in that immersion piece,
Right.
because like you can still like you pretty like there's no peripheral vision in this. Well, actually, I don't know. That's totally. I
I
don't even
wonder.
know that. I don't
Right.
even know.
I wonder what kind of field of view you have.
Yeah.
Because like you see videos on YouTube and usually it's only video of like one of the eyepieces, but
Yeah.
like
And
I
it's
wonder if
circular. Like,
yeah, so I wonder if it's actually like 160-ish degrees that we're normally used to, if you
yeah.
look, I don't know. Um so yeah, I guess that's cool. And I guess we've been recording long enough. Do you want to call that a show?
Can I bring up one more thing?
Sure.
It probably won't take that long. Um, so fairly recently, this has to do with virtual reality, kind of. So fairly recently, Microsoft came out with something called augmented reality, and this has kind of been like theorized and just like there's been concept stuff going on about it. But like literally, it's pretty much Google Glasses, but it's what we wanted out of Google Glasses. So there's like these goggles, right? And
Oh.
you can see like so for example, I will look off in this. I'm in the city, and I'll look off at a bunch of buildings, and there'll be this little tab like this big in your field of vision, and it'll say Jay's Bar and Grill, and it'll say 5 stars, and it'll say 400 reviews or whatever it is. So you literally don't even have to like look this up on your phone. You can just look over and be like, "Hey, that's a cool restaurant. We could go there." And then you could be like, "Hey, I don't know how to get there." You literally could create directions with this is like all theorized but also kind of not. Like you could create like visual directions, like arrows on the ground, um of like how to get to this place.
That
And
is pretty cool.
they when they demonstrated it, what they did was they had this big wall, and on the wall they had a broken light switch. And what they did was they had someone call you when you were testing these, you called someone and someone told you how to fix the light switch, right? But they also could do stuff like they could circle stuff, and so when they circle it, you can see it with the goggles. You could like see the circle, and they'll like do arrows and they'll take notes and stuff. That to me is super cool, and I
That is
think
awesome.
that is something that's more practical to the everyday audience than something like virtual reality, which is more for like gaming or movies or something like that, the media intake.
Right.
But this is something that I hope to see just explode, which I think it will, because it's awesome. It's just really
Right.
cool.
And two things have to happen for that to really take place is um first of all, I would say the tech needs to be affordable,
Yes.
and it needs to be done like properly. Like it can't be like super gimmicky. Like
Yeah.
it has to actually have
Like
some
Google Glasses.
use.
Yeah, like when we think about Google Glasses, I'm not bashing Google, but they kind of did a bad job with Google Glasses. Like, it's cool, you can record stuff, you can take pictures. That's pretty much it. Like, the battery sucks on it. Like, there's not that much you can do with them, and this is kind of what we want. And I think the two main issues is obviously money. Because you
Yes.
do, and another thing is just part of that is battery, because you got to have a really nice battery in there for that to last.
Yep.
Another thing, which I think Microsoft does really well, is just safety. Like, just how much of your field of vision is taken away, and like obviously when you think about like when you're driving, how distracting is the stuff that pops up when you're driving, and should we be able to use all this? And that's obviously going to come in the future, because it'll be a while for this to like appear, for this to be like consumer based.
Right.
But um I don't know. I just think it's super cool, and this is something that I'm looking forward to, because I think it'll happen in our lifetime for sure.
Yeah.
So
Um, Yeah, I guess that is pretty awesome. Most of the Google images that I found when I just Googled augmented reality were on like for the iPhone and stuff. So like,
Okay.
have they released like a glasses version? Like what's
Um, I don't know. I'm not quite sure about this. So, okay, so here's the thing. Augmented reality right now is just with your cell phone. So you'll have you can hold your like this is an app that you can actually do. You can hold up your phone and it has visual like a camera, right? And you'll hold it up and you'll look over and you can see stuff like oh a bagel place or a wine place or whatever, and it'll say the stars and it'll say the distance, and that's kind of already a thing, and that's Microsoft's working on that right now. Um, but this would be like for your visuals, like for your eyes, so like all the time.
hmm, that's interesting.
What they call it the HoloLens.
The HoloLens?
The HoloLens, yeah.
Or is it hollow or
H
hollow?
HOLOLENS. You want to look it up? Microsoft did a press event on it a little bit ago. So yeah,
Um,
it's interesting.
I'm gonna add a window.
There's a Minecraft thing going on with this.
A my what?
Like it says, Microsoft HoloLens intelligently maps the room you're in, blending holograms with the environment around you. So they
Oh,
just like
amazing.
did a visual, and it's of like Minecrafty kind of stuff, which is really weird.
That's so awesome.
So yeah, like here, that's what they did. It says new ways to teach and learn. So they did an actual demonstration of these people, like fixing a light switch, like I said, which is just super cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing the Minecraft demonstration
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
it's just kind of it's weird. Like obviously these are kind of theorized, but they literally did like a legitimate demonstration where people could come up and you can actually like perform this light switch thing. So I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, that is.
And another thing that this might turn into is just a new mobile gaming. Like this, obviously you can play like little stupid mini games with your HoloLens in the future, just like you do with your iPhone now. Just cool,
And you can,
cool
yeah,
tech.
there are varying degrees of how in depth you could go with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Interesting piece.
Yeah. So cool stuff for the future. I guess that was the Philippine podcast episode 2. We're making our we're making our way in the world. Episode 2. And yeah, so that was the show. So if you guys could leave a like, that's always appreciated, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And as always, thank you for watching, and see you later.
Bye.